My name is Claude Mugabo. You're watching lowkieeTV. This is my story. I'm an artist and an art student in the University of Bedfordshire. What got me into art is, I think it's destiny, really. From the time I was a child, from the time I was 5 years, I started finding myself drawing, and it wasn't something that I was pushing myself to do. I was finding myself doing it even though I didn't want to do it. And yeah, I started thinking that this is really something that I can keep on doing. I don't know until when, but that's when I started, when I was 5 years old, maybe 6 years, 5 years, around that time. Yeah, that's when I started.
Was it straightforward for you from your background and where you grew up? Did you go to art school there, then come to uni? Was it like a natural flow, or did you struggle along the way?
I started when I was drawing before, when I was a kid, of course. I never used to know that it was something that you can go in school to learn. I never used to take it as serious. But the time I started taking it serious was the time when my father was asking me not to draw with my notebooks, and he promised that if I don't do it, then if I get good grades, if I work good in school, if I get serious with my studies, he would take me to a art school. That's when I kind of discovered or found out that there was schools for art, and what I was doing was art, was not just drawing or just making images. So it started becoming my passion, and when I went in secondary school, I was spending most of my times, especially the times that I was supposed to be studying maths and physics and all those chemistry. I used to spend those times drawing because I wasn't that good in maths. So I said, instead of me wasting my time, not wasting my time of course, but of me taking my time, pushing myself to this thing, why don't I do something that I really like and I really love? And at the same time I was doing it, studying English better, because of course I was using French in my studies. But I was studying English because I used to think if I go to a school of art, then it won't be in my country, it won't be in a place where I can study, art in my language or French. I wanted to go to a place where I can study art in a better university, in a place where I really explore so many things. So it was my passion. And the shading technique is much quicker for me, because when I use the lines, it takes longer than it was supposed to, because the lines you have to make sure that you go the right ways. But the shades you can still do some mistakes, but you correct them using other shades or erasing them. So the shades, using the shades in drawing is much quicker and makes the model not to be much tired. In this technique, when you make a mistake, you can either go over it with a pencil, and you don't have to be really precious with the marks that you make. It's just unless you want to make a really strong image, and that will take long. But when you want to sketch a person, you can use this technique.
So you're saying that you found out from a young age about art, like you said before, you didn't realise it was actually something you could do as a profession, I guess. So then after you discovered that, how did you get to where you are now?
Well, most of the time when people ask me how did I get to where I am now, I tend to kind of not really go back into history of what happened. And I'm not from a really I'm not from a rich family, and of course my mom was providing for me, was providing for my young brothers and sisters, because I lost my father when I was 10 years, so he didn't get to fulfill his promise to me. But I thank God that he had promised at least. My mom took care of us, but she wasn't able really to pay for my university where I am now. She wasn't able to pay even for my plane ticket. The reason why I'm doing the hair in the rough way is because the face is much the main thing. So the hair, you don't need to really do every single hair. You don't need to do every hair the way it's going on the head. You can do a bit of showing the idea of how the hair is going down the head, and yeah, that would be enough. But the face is the main thing, and when the face is real, then the hair can match the face. So after my secondary school, or senior secondary school, I was supposed to go to study law in a university in my country. My country is Rwanda, by the way. And I decided not to go to study law, because I said if I go to study law, then I'll change. It's like I started looking at my future. I started saying if I go to study law, then it will be myself changing my destiny, going to a different path of my destiny. So I will be going to be a new person who I wasn't supposed to be in the future. And I stopped there. I said, I'm gonna look for my destiny. I'm gonna look for my dream. I started looking for sponsors, people who can sponsor my studies, people who can sponsor my art, but it was almost in vain. Since 2011, I was searching everywhere, sending emails to people, some people that I don't know. I used to go in magazines, art magazines or fashion magazines or anything that is related to creativity, and I used to look for emails for me to send those emails, to send messages to those people. And I used to send many emails to people, explaining to them who I am, what I do, what I want to do, what I want to study, if they can sponsor me. Most of them didn't answer, but from one person in London, she answered and she said, okay, we're really interested in your art, and we have an art or creative company, but if you really want to come, are you willing to study in London School of Art? And I was like, whoa, come on, any school of art that you can suggest to me, I'm ready. But she vanished after a while, and I didn't get tired that much. I kept on searching, and yeah, in 2013, that's when I was tired. I was really tired of waiting. I was like, either I get this dream of mine, or I lose it. So because of how tired I was, I said I'm gonna send some of my drawings to people that I know in this country that are really big. I sent it to some people that they kind of liked it, but they didn't do much to it. Maybe not because they didn't want to do it, but because, I had a school in a university in Dundee. Is it Scotland? Yeah. So Scotland university turned me down. They said I'm not really good. And that was like devastating to me. It was really hard for me to understand because I had already an opportunity in my hands, and I tried to make them understand that I can do better if I go to that university. I tried to make them, to sell myself to them, but they didn't take it. And in that time, because I had already left my workplace, I had quit my work because I was determined. I was like, I get this or I don't get it. So I was sitting at home, painting, drawing, just to pass time, just to forget what happened to me. And one of my friends, in that time when I was sitting at home, I remembered that I had a picture of my president, the president of my country, who is Paul Kagame, and I had his picture in that. I used to always say that I would draw that picture. I had that picture for 1 year in my room, and I used to always say that, okay, I will draw this picture. I'm tired. I used to get home tired from work. I don't get time. But when I was in that time in my house, I said, this time I'm gonna draw this picture. I didn't draw it because, I wanted to show off. I drew it because I liked that picture. It's kind of one of his nicest pictures I've ever seen. And I drew it the whole day, the whole night. I was, on the light, putting the picture there just to see every details, just to, to make sure the picture is really done in a very good way. And I put every details of the picture, every small dots that he has on his face, all those things. I didn't want to make it really photoshopped in a way. I just made it the way that it was. And one of my friends saw it and he was like, this has to be on Twitter, this has to be seen by someone. And I was like, from that moment, that's when I said, okay, let me show it to him then. I tweeted it to him in the morning, in the morning, 9. And in the afternoon, I received the message that they wanted my number, and I was like, okay, what's going on? I was a bit afraid and a bit happy, both sides. So that's when I started seeing things happening to me. That's when I started seeing the answers of my life that I've been praying for and working for all the time, coming to life. We met, and he had already the picture, the original copy. He asked me what I wanted to do with my art, and I said, okay, of course I want to use my art as my living, but I have first to study to know how to do what I do, even if I had a talent, but I wanted to use it first of all in studies. And he asked me if I had a school, because I had already applied for the University of Bedfordshire after Dundee University turned me down. And I told him that I had a university, which was the University of Bedfordshire, and he told me, I don't need to wait for 2014. I had an opportunity in 2013. That was in September the 16th. I remember that's when we met, and he told me, you need to go now. You need to make sure you're there now. You don't need to wait. If you're not waiting for anything, you just go. I started applying for the visa. I started applying for, you know, the loan, the student loan, all those things, and it was kind of really something that was going quick in a way that I was wondering, is this happening? Because I had spent 3 years waiting for something to happen, but when it happened in a real fast way. And yeah, I applied for the visa and I received the visa after 2 weeks. And at the time I was sitting in the airport, I just reflected to all my life, waiting for something to happen, waiting for that moment when I would be sitting. I used to, before even when I was in secondary school, even when I was in primary school, I used to always see myself sitting in the airport waiting for a plane to come or to take me somewhere. When I saw myself, knowing the situation, knowing my life, knowing, you know, which family I am from, when I saw myself sitting, you know, in the airport waiting for the plane to, you know, for me to go to the UK, I wasn't really emotional, but I was just sitting there wondering how life goes just like this. But I say this is my dream coming true, part of my dream, not my full dream, but part of my dream. And it was a sign for me to always fight for my dream, whatever I have in my mind. And yeah, when I was in the airplane, already in the sky, seeing, you know, part of Africa, part of Europe, I was like, I'm there. So that's my story basically. That's my story with my art, and you know, I still have so many things to learn. I still have so many things to see achieving. But that's a little part of my story.